Morning, guys. Just real quick this morning, we're going to finish up cube roots today. I know I promised last week, but I forgot we still had to do one more thing with it. So we're going to finish that up today. Should be a fairly easy assignment. It's just a Google Doc. I'm going to put a short video in there as far as how to use the tool. There's one tool that you need to use today in Google Docs. Otherwise, I think it should go fairly smooth, but please message me if you have an issue or if you're having trouble understanding it. So we've done this actually already with square roots. So today you're going to order, you're not ordering them, you're actually just plotting them on a number line. I don't know, maybe you are ordering them from least to greatest, I guess, on a number line. That's how it would look. So we're gonna practice. I'm going to show you just a couple examples. So when we did it with square roots, so here's my number line. So say we have the square root of 3, the square root of 10, and the square root of 23. Okay? So when we were using square roots, what we did was we thought about, well, what's the closest perfect square to 3? Well, we have 1 on this side, and then we would have the square root of 4 on the other side. Whoops, not 2, 4. So the perfect square of square root of 1 is 1, and the perfect square root of 4 is 2. So the square root of 3 would fall somewhere in between 1 and 2. Okay, does that make sense? So then if we talk about the square root of 10, again, I want to think about what is closest perfect square root wise to 10. Well, we know we can have a perfect square root of 4, and we can have, actually we would do 9, sorry. And then the next one would be 16. Okay? So the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. So the square root of 10 is going to fall somewhere in between the square root of 3 and 4. Okay? Then let's do this last one. Sorry, my cats are fighting. Guess my screen went blank. Sorry. I don't have my computer plugged in. Then let's talk about the square root of 23. So the square root of 23, we would think about what's the closest perfect squares to 23. Well, I know on this side it's the square root of 25. And on this side it would have to be the square root of 16. Well, we know the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. So the square root of 23 is going to fall somewhere in between 4 and 5. Okay, we don't do anything different for cubes. Cubes are the same. So if I have, so obviously your number line today only goes up to 5, so that makes it fairly simple also. But if I would have the cube root of 17, let's think about that. So think about the perfect cubes that are closest to 17. Well, when I list out my perfect cubes, I have 1, and then I have 8, and then I have 27, then I have 64, and then I have 125. These are all perfect cubes. I should probably put the cube root sign over them. Okay? So then when I'm looking for the cube root of 17, well, that would have to fall somewhere in between here. So this is the perfect cube is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the cube root of 17 is going to fit somewhere in here between those two. So that's between the numbers of 2 and 3. So we would put the cube root of 17 there. Okay? If we look at another number, let's say the cube root of 38. Okay? Again, these are just estimates. We're not asking for exact. We just want you to know where they're kind of located at on the number line. So if you put them halfway between a number, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to get very specific. Okay, so then I'm looking at cube root of 38. So I come down here and I look at my perfect cubes I have already. Well, 38 would have to go somewhere between the cube root of 27 and the cube root of 64, which is the whole numbers of 3 and 4. So my cube root of 38 would go somewhere between 3 and 4. Okay? The last one I want to look at is the cube root of 109. Okay? Same process. You're going to just look at this number here, look at your perfect cubes down here. Well, 109 is going to have to go between 64 and 125, right? So those whole numbers are 4 and 5. So we would put it's probably closer to 5. So again, I'm not going to be very specific, but if we were going to be specific, it would be about there probably. Okay? So that's the end of your lesson today. The first part of your lesson is mostly just review. And then I'll show you how to use the highlight tool in Google Docs just in case you don't know. I'm sure you probably already know, and it'll be redundant. You don't have to watch it if you know how to use it. But if you need a refresher, it'll be there. So that's what our lesson is for today. And then tomorrow we're moving on to exponents. You guys have a great Monday.